So it's August 2nd, 2024, and North for Wicked get a new patch update, which include lots of bug fixes, some optimization, performance optimizations, a view enhancement, more loot, by the way, in the Crucible, some adjustment to the boss fight, and yeah, overall some nice. Listen, when you see something like that, and all the bug fixes and everything, just shows again the developers are listening carefully to feedback and trying to improve and quite fast upon the complaints from players. They also improved some of the visual aspect of the game. Overall, I need to tell you that the core foundations for the game itself is good, right? And I think that they're behind the scene working quite hard to make sure the gameplay feels fun and getting all the feedback. They're not making significant changes to how the game is played, except again for what we've seen in Crucible, but probably the most major changes to the gameplay will kind of push to us at a certain point, like we got with the Crucible, based on user feedback. Now the thing is that it does take time, you can definitely see it, so for me as a player it feels very slow. I mean, I've wanted much more considering the time passed since the game was released. But again, when you look at the date, the game was released on April 18th, 2024, so a bit over 3 months. So it's not really that long. Developers need quite some time to work, especially on the major changes to the game. And of course, they're working, I have no doubt they're working on bigger things, just won't release them just yet. And again, that's the nature of an early access game, so keep this in mind. Again, this is not a full release game, this is an early access. So yeah, so overall, again, I'm quite positive. Developers are doing a great job so far. Again, there are things to be adjusted, changes and added, but that's the nature of the early access, hopefully for the good. I trust the developer to deliver a great experience eventually. Now, regarding best weapon element for Crucible and best echo, the reason I use Plague is because of that, the Black Death. This is basically 50% chance that plague infected enemies die instantly, but maximum health decrease 20%. You can do this even for the boss. So basically you can burst one hit, even eliminate the boss one after the other, the 2 stages. So nothing beats that in terms of usefulness. And of course, if you get it early, like I did, you're just gonna breeze through the Crucible with ease. However, I played a lot, and this is only the second time that I actually got it. Now, aside from that, I really love the plug actually has kind of increased damage, so it's not linear, so it's more, I don't know, satisfying when you play with it, when you see little damage, more damage, and much higher damage when you hit enemies so, with the combo, so it just feels better for me, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, so both of them, the reason, again, high damage and not linear damage, and the ability to have this particular echo make plug weapons just... this particular weapon I'm using, the best for me. It's also very fast and very satisfying to use. Now, the next thing is having multiple weapons. The thing is that depends on what you get because of the randomness nature of the roguelite element in the game. Basically, you can get different echoes that can beat different weapons. It's just maybe if you get like extra, let's say, lightning damage, you want to switch maybe to lightning weapon, or if you get something that increases the speed, the attack speed of the weapon, you might consider getting a weapon that is maybe slow but very powerful. So having different weapons is always good. Also having ranged weapon is good as an alternative. They also added a chest to Seneschal's chamber, as you can see here, which is really nice. Finally, you can get a bit more loot out of Crucible, make it more rewarding. I mean, this is just a must. I mean, enemies don't drop anything anymore, so being able to have this, especially at, at a certain point we already progress well, I mean, great, why not? I mean, I didn't even understand why I didn't put it in the first place, but it's there. Now, they also addressed the problem with the boss fight. We can stagger him like forever. I mean, I couldn't not staggering him because when I'm attacking him, he just keeps staggered. And basically, it was fun for the first tries, but in the long run, it's not really fun. I mean, you can enjoy beating the boss again and again, but if you look at the fun that you get outside of it, it doesn't feel rewarding when you do it like that. And eventually, when you finish enough time very fast, that the game itself, the Crucible itself, won't feel fun at all. I mean, you just get the loot, it's just like an auto-clicker, you just get things, it just takes longer, and eventually what's the point, right? So you get bored. So those changes are actually welcome changes, and actually I wished Crucible was much harder and more rewarding and something really great waiting for you, in my opinion, but it's not the case right now. Still, Crucible is pretty easy. So a game that's supposed to be like Souls-like, at least it feels like that in the beginning, but it's just a few changes in your gear, you can make it like feel like easy mode Diablo, I can slash. So the thing is that that's the problem, because in terms of identity of the game, it starts feeling like a Souls-alike, I'm saying, right? Type of game, challenging and really fun in that aspect, and then moves on to Crucible, where it's very easy after a few changes in your gear, by putting a few things in the slot and a few drops in the stats of the gear, to really makes the game very, very easy. And this is where the point where some players find like, okay, what this game is, like, what's the identity, what this game's supposed to be. We started with something very challenging, and I need to pay attention to things and dodge. And actually developers mentioned that. They actually mentioned some things related to the noise in the game, and things that the game, you know, having more doesn't mean that, you know, it's supposed to be better. I personally disagree, because there's something very satisfying with things like in Diablo, where you eliminate many enemies. It just feels great, especially when you lots of drops. It's rewarding, and there are lots of variations in the drops. That's what Diablo is all about. I mean, there's something great in each type of approach to the gameplay. In Elden Ring, I really enjoy the game being very hard and very rewarding, and each drop means something. But the thing is that with No Rest for the Wicked, that it seems like a mishmash of different things, and it doesn't really have its own unique identity. So again, Crucible can become pretty easy very early on. The game starts hard, so you really don't understand what the game's supposed to be. And as a player, I have to admit, I'm a bit confused. Now, I'm not saying that you can have, let's say, both. Like, for example, you can have something like challenging, something is very challenging, you need to pay attention to, and something easier. I mean, many games are even designed in terms of difficulty to have those spikes of excitement and difficulty. So you get something that is pretty easy, and then you have spikes in difficulty, and then you can go back a bit. This is something that, in terms of game design, is designed to really give players, the satisfaction they need, to motivate them to play more and feel great about what they already achieved, and then challenge them again. So it's actually built in many games, by the way, behind the scenes, of course, but you're gonna feel it when you play. So the thing that I think will become contagious in this game is, it's very easy to become very powerful in this game, and eventually, what's the point in actually trying to get something better or better loot if it's already easy with just a few changes in, choosing a few weapons and a few stats, and the game becomes easy mode, right? The whole idea is that it's worth getting good loot if you want to progress through something harder, or tackle a hard challenge like a boss fight, or trying, for example, in endless mode, trying to push yourself. It's supposed to be something that is not existing here, because this is there's an end here, it's one boss. That, if it was like a roguelike game, for example, where you need to beat several bosses and progress and finish it, and it's very hard and bosses become harder, fine, but it's not like that now. Maybe they will add it later on, but right now the incentive for actually getting better loot and optimizing your character, for me, it's non-existent. It did exist until a certain point, but even with what I have, and I don't even need to have all that in order to finish the Crucible quite easy in every challenge in the game. So again, I'm just sharing my opinion, and I think this game is kind of identity crisis, but maybe this is just one part of the puzzle, and based on user feedback and what we expect to have, this will be solved. Here you can see, by the way, the echo that can just easily eliminate the boss. 1 or 2 hits. 50%. You're probably going to do 1 or 2 hits until you get it done. This is what makes, by the way, Plug such an amazing thing to have on your weapon, especially for Crucible. And that's it. So yeah, I have my thoughts about the game. Again, I'm not satisfied at all. Keep this in mind. I do hope that changes will come that will improve the game for the better. But again, we don't know the direction. When you direct a game, you should have something already know ahead of time in order to be able to really, push through and invest the time in just improving the game and add more content to it. But it seems they just haven't decided what they want to do just yet. It seems like it. So it seems like they're more iterating and learning from feedback, which is fine. But really, as a player, it confuses me. So I do hope that eventually we get something great. It's something that doesn't look great, but also plays great in the long run, when the game is released in its final version. And I'm providing my feedback and my thoughts, and that's it. All for the good, and that's it for this video. Letting me know your thoughts about the game so far and about the patch. And don't forget to press the subscribe button and the like button. It helps a lot. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.